Hello and welcome to Ruggles Round Up. It's the portion of our Elevated Mission podcast where we talk about all things sports. We're super excited to bring this episode to you. With Ewers saying he was coming back for another year with the Texas Longhorns. There's implications on what happens with Archy Manning. And you know what? It's just insane how with these guys getting paid this amount of money to play college football, guys are extending their college careers that they wouldn't have in years past.
Yeah, it's one of the more interesting things we have going on. Ewers, who would have been, I think, in the top 5 rounds of the draft, might have been a 4th-round pick like Dak Prescott, but I think would have been taken with it. And he's not going undrafted or anything like that.
No.
He would have been making millions in the NFL, and it's surprising, but I think it's probably best for him. This is such a talented draft class for quarterbacks. He can probably move himself up to a top 3 argument in the next year's draft class for quarterbacks. And so I get the move by him for makes sense just because he can get that money from the Longhorns. But I mean, the craziness is that you've got this guy who I think everybody was looking forward to starting this upcoming year in Archy Manning, who everyone had even been talking about in practice snaps being the guy that kept on making these huge steps. And that's what usually happens with these star quarterbacks, is that you hear them come in as a freshman and they're the backup, their 3rd string, and then they pass up the 2nd string at some point in the season. And then you hear all these things from camp that they're like, we're not even sure if he's better than Ewers. Like, we're not even sure if he's which one of these quarterbacks would be the best. And that's what you start hearing about Archy Manning. So it's not just hype about the Manning name behind this player, as he's been playing good in practice at for those Longhorns. And so it's going to be interesting to see. If you're smart, Texas, I would say, just start Archy Manning. You get way more ticket sales and probably get the better quarterback. But, it could end up being a cool situation where Archy Manning goes to one of those awesome landing spots that need a quarterback.
Yeah, this is super interesting. Yeah. Does Sark let Archy Manning go? Like, can he afford to let that slip through his fingers? He already doesn't take the Alabama job, right? Stays at Texas, and then does he let Archy Manning slip through his fingers as well? I mean, I think that would be a huge story. So can he navigate those waters and say, stick with us another year? Hey, do maybe what like Michigan did with Orgy and get him some reps, get him some playing time where you go, okay, he starts to be able to show his talents a little bit and just do some things, but you don't fully give him the range. You let yours just for his the years that he's done there in Texas. And it's going to be an interesting year because Texas should be great again coming into this next season. I'll tell you another one. Sneaky non-guys entering the draft, Ohio State. They're really keeping that defensive side of the ball together at Ohio State. They had 3 guys declare for the draft. The rest of the team is all coming back. So just as we're thinking about Texas, that's a stronghold. I really, it's super interesting to see what Ohio State's going to have just with all that talent coming back. Some really strong programs coming back for this next season.
Oh yeah, I mean and they're losing McCord, so maybe Manning goes over to Ohio State and throws it to Mika Ibuka. You talk about all the pitch that you give to Archy Manning. Okay, so let's say you're Archy Manning. You just got that pitch that you just planned out from Texas, and I'm Lincoln Riley, and I come up to you and I say, I want you to be the next NFL quarterback in my system. I want you to come over to USC. I mean, how do you say no to that? I mean, that is one of those things where I would go instantly. If I was any quarterback in the nation, to be honest, I would go over and play for Lincoln Riley. But if you're Archy Manning, you probably have a realistic shot of being a transfer guy that gets to start right away, because Lincoln Riley not only develops good quarterback, but he's proven to take guys in the transfer portal and develop them into good quarterbacks as well.
Absolutely. And with USC now going to the Big Ten, that that opportunity. Now it looks like it's SEC and Big Ten. That's your great opportunity in this 12-team playoff system now. And so, yeah, USC is a great opportunity. I mean, for that matter, Washington, the quarterback just left there. They're going to the Big Ten as well. And, you know, their coach that they just hired there at Washington to replace their guy as he heads off to Alabama really has done a nice job. He took a team that basically had nothing in the cupboard and came out and created winners there. So, you know, that's a great landing spot for a quarterback as well. There's a few good spots out there. Michigan's going to need a quarterback, but I think we're all a little bit leery at the moment going, is Jim Harbaugh going to actually be at Michigan, or who's going to be that next coach? Are we going to see Harbaugh with a Chargers hat on come this next fall, or is he going to be back in Ann Arbor with the M on his hat?
Let me tell you, anybody, just last little comment is, if anybody is underselling that Commander's job, that is the perfect job for any new coach. You get the second quarterback in the NFL draft, and you get, so basically you get to rebuild your own team. You got talent already there, and you got a team that doesn't have high expectations. You just win a playoff game, and the city will love you. I mean, that is a good spot to go head coach at.
Hey, and a sneaky good thing for Jim Harbaugh in that Commander's job is not very far away from his brother John Harbaugh, just over in Baltimore. And we know family's super important. You know, if he leaves Michigan, he leaves mom and dad living right next door to him. Well, maybe mom and dad move down, brothers just, you know, a few towns over, and, you know, they can have a nice little family area over there in the Washington, D.C. area with the Commanders. Well, we'll see where that all plays out. Super interesting to see where Archy Manning lands, and Ewers, what kind of season he gets. Again, we don't know what Sark's reaction to that is. You know, the young man saying he's going to stay. Does Sark say, great, we love to have you. You can back up Archy Manning this next season, and we're so glad to have your senior leadership here. Well, we're going to see how that all plays out. Super fun, exciting. Listen, guys, after this podcast, we are going to go into a Ruggles Round Up-less week, and we know that would be awful and just a fate worse than death. And so we'll hit you guys up with some reels. So be checking your Instagram, be checking for us as we put these out onto the Elevated Mission Tampa Instagram site, as we'll hit you with some of those, give you some predictions and different things, but we won't have a full podcast next week. And then we'll be right back the week after that, because we know that would be cruel and unusual punishment if we didn't come back. Well, thank you for watching and listening to Ruggles Round Up on the Elevated Mission podcast. Make sure if you're on YouTube, you click the subscribe and you click the like button. We love that you're out there listening and watching us talk about all things sports. We'll see you next time.